Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope everyone's all having a good evening. Do you know what I'm saying? And is happy amongst themselves. I am here to talk about Mateus Fernandez's £30 million bid rejected, and does 40 million get this man to the LS? Do you know what I mean? Before I get started, please do smash like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell, and if you want to become a member of the channel, check out the membership stuff on that. Listen, today has been mad. Yeah, absolutely mental. And I do not understand what some people want out of this club. Yeah, they take the piss and moan that Sullivan doesn't spend any fucking money. And when you want to go and spend on a talent, and he is an up-and-coming talent, he's highly rated, people don't want to spend on him for some reason. Do you know what I'm saying? It baffles me beyond belief. And, you know, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Today, 30 million bid rejected. And apparently it's 24, or it's either 23 or 24 plus add-ons, right? And his now has come out from Claret and Hugh about an hour ago that they want in excess of 40 million. Anyone who was following my space earlier on, I said it on the fucking space, and I don't know how many more times I've got to say it, that, like, you know what I mean? If you want good players, you've got to put in serious bids. And West Ham just don't put in serious bids for players. Simple as that. They put in low ball offers and shit, basically. And that won't ever wash with any other club. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it is what it is. And we go from there. But I agree with that comment, and chuck your comments in. I'm going 35 and 5, and that's it. I think that's a fair offer. You round it up to 40 mil. People are saying that, oh, you can't pay 40 mil for him. Like, we paid 30 million for James Ward-Prowse, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I'm saying? And we've paid money before for other players. Why not buy a 21-year-old up-and-coming prospect instead of going for shits all the time? Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand it. Just go in and get the player out of there. Yeah. Today's offer, I think it's low ball. I think it's basically testing the waters, and I think it's wasting their time. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, the next offer is going to be interesting, because if West Ham go in there with 30 and 5, then they're just mucking about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Southampton want £50 million, apparently, for the sale of Mateus Fernandes. They ain't getting 50 mil for him. 100%. That ain't happening. So, you know, what you do is you go in there with a bid that sort of pulls him out of there. You put a bid in that they consider, and they were never going to consider it. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's get to this from Darren. I'll get to Tyler's in a minute. Do you think we'll make the second bid, James? I think it's incoming, mate. Do you know what I mean? People have got to understand this is Potter's target. Potter wants this player. And for me, there's overpaying on players, but I think this is a player worth overpaying on. Do you know what I'm saying? Max Kilman last year, we paid £14 million out for this geezer. And how old is he? 27, 28? Right, we paid £30 million for a James Ward-Prowse. Anyone saying about not paying for this geezer, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it at all. So, you know, it is what it is on that. I think West Ham need to act. I think they need to act fast. I think they need to get a midfielder in. But the problem is that, as I'm just checking something here, yeah, what I don't understand is why not fucking just go in there and get the geezer out of there. It just seems like it's delayed all the time, and there's just never no sort of substance to the whole situation. Just checking something. Hold on one sec. Yeah, it's banned tonight. Right, let's get this man on. Damo, what you saying, son?
What are you saying, James? What are you saying? So what, a £30 million bid for Fernandez rejected, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you reckon he's worth as a player?
He's not worth 50. I think 40 million's fair, right? I do, because I look at the age of the geese. He's only going to get better. If you keep him for 2 years and you sell him on, right, you're probably going to get the same money for him. Like, he's not a player that I think goes down in value unless he has like a massive dip in form. And we're trying to build a young up and coming side. So with young up and coming players, they've got a fee, and you just got to pay it. Like, it seems like we're too easy just to fuck off a player because, oh, no, we ain't going to pay that. We're like Poverty FC. Like, we really are. And I just I don't agree with it. What are you saying, though?
Uh, when I looked at him, he didn't. I like it. I like him as a player. He's all right. He's better than some of what we have. I don't think he's an absolute world beater though.
No, he's not. No, he's not a well beater. I agree with that.
I like his style of play. He's like a bit of a defensive midfielder, but a bit more of an 8. He's like combative, good technical ability. To be honest, this is my thing, right?
Yeah.
If I was the manager of that team and I added him into that team, my midfield would be him, Paqueta, and Alvarez. And the thing with Potter is, you know that it's going to be someone, him, and JWP. So, to be honest, we could miss out on Mbappe, and I wouldn't really mind because I don't feel like Potter's going to get the best out of this team anyway. That's my opinion. I don't want to sound negative, but
Right.
I genuinely don't care. I genuinely do not care that this.
Yeah, but surely he's got to be backed. Like, if Potter wants this player, surely you've got to deliver this player.
But
like,
my opinion is, my opinion is he can't win Alvarez round. So all he's going to do is just go and buy someone to say, well, there you go, Alvarez, there's your place gone. And so, and to me, that's he's supposed to have a psychology degree, ain't he? Ain't he supposed to be able to get these players to work? So
but who's got?
I see it as a cheap tactic, personally.
But who's got the bigger ceiling? Alvarez right now or Fernandez? But Fernandez,
I think they're slightly different styles of player. I think they're slightly different styles of player. I don't think they're a million miles away from each other in terms of profile. But they are slightly different players. Alvarez is an out-and-out 6. Sit in front of the back 4, clean up. This kid's a bit more of a 6 with qualities of an 8 who's a bit combative. Obviously, your man's going to have the highest ceiling. I think Alvarez is like 27, 28, and this kid's 21, 22. So you would expect him to, having been introduced to the Premier League so early, especially, to have the highest ceiling. But it just doesn't bother me. I'll be honest. When we missed out on Duran, for example, I cried into my pillow. Yeah. When we missed out on Duran, I cried into my pillow. When we miss out on Fernandez, I'm not bothered, mate. I'm sitting here drinking my ice slush puppy, calm. I haven't broke a sweat over it. So that's my opinion on it, mate. I don't want to nullify anyone's flame, but I'm not bothered. I genuinely am not bothered because I don't see, the way I see it is, so what, the midfield next season, if we were to get him, would be Fernandez, James Ward-Prowse, and someone else.
It ain't going to be that. It's going to be Fernandez, Paqueta, and Potts. That's what it is. I
still think that is an absolutely
but the thing is, if you want the Brighton model, and I say it's quite openly, if people want the Brighton model, you got to pay the fucking money for players. Like, what do people think? They're just going to turn up for free, right? This is what I don't get. They think, oh, you know what? We'll drop a £30 million bid in there. It ain't going to matter. We'll get him out of there. Right, people need to get in the real world, right? It ain't going to happen.
You're saying Brighton model, yeah? So we've had a £30 million bid rejected, yeah? £30 million bid rejected. You're saying going on 40. Do you think Fernandez is ever going to be a 50, 60 million pound player?
I would say his value's only going to go up. It all depends on how much it goes up. Because I don't think his value goes down, mate, if I'm being real. Right, I really don't. Like, I think it's a lot of dough, but I think it's worth the risk. I've seen West Ham pay out £40 million out for Max Kilman. I've seen us pay £30 million out for James Ward-Prowse. Now, no one can sit there and tell me that when we paid £30 million out for James Ward-Prowse, it was the right move. But for me, this feels like the right move for me. The geezer comes in, he's 21 years of age, his value is only going to go up. If he has 2 years at West Ham and we sell him for 50 million, or 55 million, we made a profit. one thing with this club that we don't do is we don't buy players in and then sell them on for value. We never do that. That's one thing with West Ham that we're very poor at.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
So we've got to buy players in order to make them assets. Yeah, because let's have it right here. How many assets do West Ham have at the club of any value? Bowen, Paqueta, and that's it. Like, you've got to buy assets at the end of the day, mate. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I get that. But I think it's hardly a Moses Casado kind of situation where you're buying him for like 7-8 million and selling him.
Yep, I understand that. I understand that also, mate. And there's players out there that Potter could go and get, but Potter said he wants this man, and it's been claimed that it is this man he wants. This time should just go and get the man. I don't get why it's a struggle to go and get a player, right? And not only that, the bid that they're putting today has been laughed out of the room, right? And that tells me that's Sullivan all over straight away, right? Because I'm not being funny. If you're looking at the player, you find out how much he's worth. Because in life, you have a look and see what the value is or something. You don't go and put a bid in on a car if you know the car. Well, you need to know what the value of the car is before you put the bid in. Do you know what I'm saying? And if West Ham have found out it's 50 million, you go in there with a bid of say 35. That's your start-up bid straight away, and then you raise it 5 to 40. You don't go in there with a bid of, and this is what I heard today. It was like 23, right, or 24 plus add-ons, right? So that's fucking terrible. Really. Do you know what I mean?
That is
like, and that's what I heard earlier. And then David Ornstein come out with something, and I read it and I thought, the person who fucking told me that earlier is fucking bang on. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like someone says there's 28 plus 2, but whatever it is, mate. Like at the end of the day, I heard it was like 23 or 24 plus add-ons. So it is what it is. But even then, that's an insult. Like 28 plus 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're going for a young up and coming player who is potentially going to have a sell on value, right? And we're going and give like fucking 40 million to fucking Max Kilman. That's where my logic does not make no sense with some people, because I look at it and think, well, you sign this kid for 40 mil, yeah, you build him up for a year and a half, and you can let him go, and you're going to make a profit on it. Do you know what I'm saying? But obviously, they don't want to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, I wanted someone a bit more. I don't know. That's not the. I like the player.
Right.
It's just, I wanted more of a out and out athlete in there, man. The way I look at that midfield personally, but I'm a 4-2-3-1 man, yeah.
Right.
So the way I look at that midfield is you have Alvarez as and this is the debacle. These are the conversations that we're having that were being had the year that Moyes signed. Well, Moyes and Steiden had a kind of joint transfer window with the Rice money, and it was kind of like, how do you replace Declan Rice kind of thing, right?
Right.
And a lot of people were saying to replace Declan Rice, you need a 6 and a ball and like a ball carrier, yeah. And then obviously Moyes decided that he didn't want a ball carrier; he wanted JWP. I think that decision has held us back for a long time, and it's why I will never have massive admiration for James Ward-Prowse. And I know people get onto me about that. I don't care. I don't rate him massively as a footballer. But for me, the way I look at that midfield is you have Alvarez as just a 6, and then, well, this is in a 4-2-3-1. You have Alvarez as a 6, Paqueta as a 10, and then someone behind like who kind of can do a bit of both, really, who's a good ball winner but a good ball carrier as well. I suppose Fernandez does kind of fall into that bracket a little bit, but I just don't. I feel like whatever player Potter could get Vieira, Zidane, Pirlo, every single midfielder you name, yeah, and James Ward-Prowse would still be in that starting 11, man. So I honestly, that's That's where I stand on it. I don't get heartbroken by many Potter targets that fall through.
But the only thing I'm going to say on this, if you don't like the player, you don't like the player. Fine. Yeah.
No, I didn't say that. I don't mind the player.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying it though, right? If anyone doesn't like the player, that's fine. But it's the low balling bids going in there first and taking the piss out of a club straight away. He does it every fucking time. Every single time he'll go in with an insulting bid and he gets laughed at straight away. Like, if you're a serious club and you think this is the player for you, you drop a bid of 30 mil in there, right? And you add fucking 5 million with add-ons. So you boost it up to 35 mil. You don't go in there with a bid of, like, if it is 28 and 2, or what I heard earlier, which was like 23, 24 and plus add-ons. Yeah, you go in there with a bid that you make them think. That's the problem. You've got to make them like think about the offer, right? If they're laughing it out and having a fucking like having a chat about it and pissing themselves laughing, it's just wasting time. Like, and this ain't the first time this has happened. I'm going to say this: it happened with the John Duran situation last summer. It's happened on numerous occasions where we're going with a bid, and it just doesn't feel genuine. It feels like it's a bid that, like, what are they trying to fit? Like, what are you trying to feel out? If you know it's 50 mil. Yeah, you drop a serious bid in there of like 35 and say, all right, well, what you're saying, 35 mil, yeah? If they say no, then it all depends on how keen you want the player. Do you know what I mean? Now, it's apparently rumoured that West Ham are going to go in there and try and get him out there for 40, yeah? I ain't going to be gutted if we pay 40 mil for this geezer. Not at all, mate, because he's a young prospect who is he's done a bit of time in the Premier League. He's got a sell-on value. And we've got to keep buying aging players and giving them fucking homes at this club. That's another thing that we've got to stop doing and all. So, you know.
I'm not against the player. I don't think he's not exactly what I would want. But to be... I don't know. We seem to be going after a lot of relegated players as well. It seems like that's all we can really attract at the moment. It's worrying, man. We a couple of years ago we were attracting we were beating Juventus. But
you know why, don't you? You know why? Because getting these players from the Championship is going to be easier to give them a platform back into the Prem.
No, I know. Yeah. And we are in a different space in comparison to last year as well. We look different on paper. If someone looks at the league table, the only thing that we've got working in our favour at the moment is we finished above Man United and Spurs, but the league position is still quite low, so it's not as an attractive as a proposition. I just if I'm going to be totally honest, if we don't get Fernandez, I wouldn't be totally heartbroken, but at the same time, something needs to happen because, boy, what that squad is looking at right now, and I'm seeing things like Sunderland spending 100 million. They're probably, I don't know Sunderland's team from front to back, so I'm not sure what they're going to look like as a complete outfit. But I have very little faith in that that team. I think we have. I've always maintained this. I think we have good players. I think we have some decent goalkeepers. I think our centre backs are decent. I think our full backs are really good. I feel like there's some key profiles in midfield that we've got that are positive. You got Bowen, you got Fulkrug, Guilherme. There's talents in there, but as a complete outfit, I feel like there's still a lot to do, to be honest. And,
but the only thing I'm going to say to that is you've got to give Potter his players. But the problem is, has Potter been really back this window? Right, honestly, and I'll say this to the
no. You can feel it. You can feel it.
Exactly that, right? You know full well he hasn't really been backed, right? The players that are his and the players that are Sullivan's, you can see it's night and day, right? The issue is, if Potter wants this player, West Ham have got to try and secure this deal, because if he can't secure this deal, then you're going after the second choice or the third choice, and you don't know what's going to happen with them. Do you know what I mean? And the problem is, old habits never change, right? And if Sullivan goes in for, let's say, Fernandez deal falls through, and we go after another player, right? What's he going to do? Go in for a low ball bid again? just to test the waters. Like, I don't get that. I don't get the philosophy behind that. Yeah, what are you trying to test? Like, if you want the player, you put a serious bid in to sort of make them think, you know what, this is a good bid. Do you know what I mean? One thing you don't do is waste everyone's fucking time. Do you know what I'm saying? And now what you've done, you've alerted everyone else now. So if a club like, let's say, and I see this today, let's say Atletico Madrid, right? If Atletico Madrid come in and pay and offer 35 mil, then he's gone. Because like they can offer more than what we can. Do you know what I'm saying? West Ham should be all over this deal and trying to get this deal done, right? For good players, you've got to pay the money. And it feels like we want to pay fucking Poundland prices for gems. You know what I'm saying? Which doesn't make no fucking sense. So, you know, anything else you want to land on, Damon, if I let you go?
No, not really, James. Not really, James. I'll just be keeping my eye on the transfer window and we'll see what happens. But I've got very little faith going into the season at the moment, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, all right, mate. All right, Damon, take it easy, man. Peace. James, how you doing, son? Take it away, mate. Whatever you want to say.
I'm doing really good. I agree with what you're saying. I also agree with a bit of what Damien's saying. I ain't got a lot of faith going into the season. I do believe that Potter should be giving his players, but it's like what you're saying. We're doing Poundland players on, you know, on lemonade money, really. You know what I mean? Or champagne players on lemonade money is the same. You know, yeah. we ain't doing. David Sullivan is not going to put any of his own money in. He never has. He never will. And, you know, if it was up to me, it's not up to me, but there would be a chant going around the London stadium every fucking week, stop robbing our club. Stop robbing our club. You no good fucking dwarf. Stop robbing our club. And that's what I would have everyone singing every week, because he's been robbing us blind with these agents for years and years. And the thing is when you think of the players we could have had, that's why we're looking at players. Southampton relegated. Listen, relegated teams can't really rate their players at 50 and 60 million. That's ridiculous. I know what you're saying. Pay the money. He's a good player, the kid. I agree with that. Absolutely 100%. I don't think he's 50, 60 millions worth of players. Like you said, look, we massively, massively overpaid for Kilman. Right? Let me ask you a question, right? And seriously, if it was up to you, now I know it's not, but if it was up to you, how much money, when we bought Kilman, do you really think he was worth?
About 32 mil.
I'd have gone lower. I'd have said he's worth about £18 million. Because you know what?
I get what you're saying, but I look at him and I just think we paid 10 million over the top, right, for Kilman. Yeah. It's, you know what I mean?
When I look at defenders, I want to see someone who's big, strong, powerful in the air. You know, like Kilman, 6'4" or whatever he is, can't head the ball. You look at that ball through to Giroud the other day. Realistically, he should have been. He was nowhere near him. I know people going, "Oh, Wan-Bissaka played him on side," but a good defender would have been up his arse and bang would have nutted the ball away, and Giroud would have never got nowhere near it. So you have to look at who's culpable for some of these things. I mean, I agree that the Moroccan fellas played good this so far in pre-season. I can't think of his fucking name.
El Canoes.
No, not El Canoes. The one who plays next to Kilman. He's only just come back in the team.
Yeah, I know you're back.
But he ain't had a bad pre-season. But I wouldn't say he's been much. But like I don't. Tadibo, where'd you get 30 odd million for a player? I don't even think he's that good.
Yeah, but James. Yeah, but I understand all that. Yeah, I really do. But I don't know what people want. Like, he's a young up and coming player. He's at a club where he's locked down, right? He's on a 4-year deal. Southampton are very good and shrewd at selling players. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I agree with you 100%.
Right.
I would like to see more young players And I ain't got a problem with paying the money for him. I really haven't. But you can't just be silly with it. There's got to be like, I mean, you've got to look at today's market. I mean, that McAtee's just gone to Forest for 20 million. That seems like a reasonable price to me.
Mm.
You know, you have to look. You've got to look at the market. I mean, look, I get what you're saying. You're saying like, you know, if you want them, pay the money. If it was somebody who was say more recognised, then you'd turn around and go, yeah, 50 million, whatever, no problem. You know, like when we paid for Paquetá, you can't really argue. You pay the money, you get him. That's what it is. And certain players, like there's another thing. Look, I already told you the other day, I really rate Jared Bowen. I like him, but he is now not a young player anymore. He's 29 years old. There ain't really going to be much of a sell-on value for him, like if and when. So he's probably going to stay at the club for the rest of his career, which I hope he does because I really like him. But like you said, if you want to get a sell-on value, you got to get him young. Like Freddie Potts, if he makes it into the team this year and he gets a run of games, his value will skyrocket, which can only be good for West Ham. And I thought the same about Ollie Scholes, but then last year, the last few games he played, they weren't so good. He kept getting up the pitch and then going backwards or sideways. And I was thinking, I remember Scholes from a few years ago when he first broke in, you know, like around the European campaign. And he was putting in really nice crosses. All of a sudden, no crosses. Like, and you wonder why does this happen? Is it they're under instruction to do certain things? Now everyone's rucking about James Ward-Prowse. You know, 30 million was too much. His wages are too much, and he is what you would describe as a ticker. Ticks the team over, keeps passing the ball left, right, backwards. You know, he's a ticker. So that's why Potter likes him, because Potter's style is basically to knacker the other team out chasing the ball at the back. That's what he likes to do, get the other team tired, and then in the last 15, 20 minutes, have a little pop. And people used to ruck at Moyes for doing exactly the same thing.
But James, I'm just going to say this, sometimes in life is you've got to go out and maybe a little bit overspend on potential like quality players. Like amount of times over the years West Ham have overspent on shit. I don't think this geezer's absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. And there's been times over the years where we've gone out and we've spent stupid money on players and they've folded. Yeah. I don't think this geezer folds, right? I think this geezer's a young up and coming kid. He's adapted to the Premier League. He's come from the school of Sporting Lisbon. Yeah, Sporting Lisbon like always developed decent players. Obviously, I think Bruno Fernandes come through there, and then they do bring out some good players. And I just feel like if you want this model, and this is the model that Potter's going down, he's going down for young up and coming players, Juve, Hermansen, Fernandez. That's what I want to see at West Ham. I don't want to see.
Yeah, me too. But I would put the thing on it. Like when you get this player, like say for argument's sake, they went out and said, "All right, we'll pay the money." Then you've got to look at what kind of wages are they going to put him on? Because if you go too high, you've then got the problem of if somebody does come in for them, can they match not just the price of the player, can they match the wages? So years ago, I'll just tell you, so you probably know, but I'll just tell you anyway. Years ago, West Ham, we never used to pay that much money for players, right? But what we used to do is we used to pay really good wages to them. I agree. And that's what kept them at the club for years and years, you know, like your Alvin Martins, your Steve Potses, and, you know, they stayed for years because they was on good wages and other clubs probably couldn't match it. But, like, the problem that you've got now is if you pay massive money for them and massive wages, like, realistically, who would... So I think I heard today that James Ward-Prowse is on 115 grand a week. You ain't never going to get him out of the club before he's due to hang his boots up.
Yeah, and that is the thing, though, James. That is the thing, right? That's what irritates me. Because we've got a geezer on 115 grand in James Ward-Prowse. We had another geezer last year in Danny Ings on 125 grand. Yeah. I don't think this Fernandez geezer is going to want mega money. to come here. Yeah. And I think West Ham will probably give him about maybe 70, 80 grand a week, maybe. Right. I don't know. Right. I'm not too sure on that. But you've got to, like, it's all depends on what model you want at West Ham. Right. I want the model of young players.
Younger players. You
Yeah.
like, listen, you have got to have younger players. All these aging players gives you the problem that we've had for the last 2 or 3 years. You know, like
True.
we're buying all these old players and they're putting them on massive money, and then when they break down and get injuries like Zuma did, with dodgy knees, this, that, and the other, you've now got a player on 100 and odd grand a week sitting on the bench, or he's out injured for X amount of time. You know, Danny Ings can now get fucking air transplants for the next 20 years down to West Ham. You know what I mean? He can just get a new rug. He can get a new rug every other week if he wants one. And I don't mean that horrible, because I don't dislike him, because I used to think he was a pretty good player, but then there was a point where he stopped being good, and Villa recognised that, and they literally pulled our pants down with Danny Ings, because you know, listen, you watch the games as well as I do. I'm watching them from abroad. You watch them from at home because of your you know, resistance to going to the stadium, which I totally understand, by the way. But you watch him. I used to watch Danny Ings when he come on, and I was like, 115 grand a week. Fuck me. I could still play better than that, and I'm fucking 53. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. And I probably couldn't. I don't really, you know. But you know, sometimes you sit there and you see someone miss a glaring fucking shot from 3 yards and stick it over the bar, and you go like, I'd put that in. Would you really? But
yeah, I know what you're saying. Right, James. Before I let you go, do you think, one, we get the deal done, and if we do get the deal done, how much do we pay?
I hope we get the deal done, and if they're asking for 50 million, I personally, if I was in charge of transfers, I'd go in with 45. Or maybe 43 and try and go up to 45 as a max. I think 50 million's a little bit too much, but then Southampton probably think 50 million's probably a bit too much. There's got to be a meeting point, ain't there? Do you know
40.
what I mean?
I think 40 is fair. I think if you're doing,
I mean, I'd love to see this kid at West Ham. Like, I have watched him a couple of times, and I do think he's really good, and his ceiling is very high. So, you know, you could. I heard you. I think you said to Damien a few minutes ago that you believe in like 2 or 3 years' time you'd maybe get 50, 60 million for him. If the transfer market keeps going the way it does, you probably will. So you're gonna make a profit on. That's what we look. Listen, we have been terrible at making any money on players. For Sebastian Haller, we let him go for a song. You know, Skamaka, we let him go cheap. Anderson, we let him go cheap. You can't just keep doing that and having this thing. But you know, just before I go, my belief is that Sullivan signs a lot of these players, and the deal is not with the player, the deal's with the agent, and they have a carve up and they're splitting the money up, because why would you do it? Why would you keep buying all these players that you know ain't going to work? Like, you know, you in a more, like, I think Mikel Antonio famously once said, to work in a David Moyes system, you have to work like a dog up front, because it's very, very difficult. When you bring players in that are poachers or a fox in the box or whatever you want to call them, someone who's they don't work in that system. They're not going to chase the ball down. They're not going to wrestle with 2 defenders at a time, and like, so you wouldn't bring them players in. You know, common sense says to you they don't work. Or like in Moyes' team, right? Just for example, Moyes likes big, strong men. He likes them 6 foot plus, like Thomas Suchek. He ain't really bothered whether they can make intricate little through ball passes and stuff like that. That ain't what he wants. He wants you to get the ball in the middle, work it out to the faster players on the wings. They get up the line and try and give it to the big fella up front. That's what he wants. So when you buy a little lightweight player, like someone I know you used to like inside Ben Rama, who's going to get muscled off the ball because he's trying to do it from 60 yards back, then they don't work. So that's exactly the problem that we've gone through. And like what you were saying with the managers, you got 1, 2, 3 managers come in, you're working 3 managers players back because you can't get rid of them. It creates a major problem. Anyway, I don't want to bore you for any longer. Sorry to keep coming on, but when you bring these subjects up, you fucking
No worries at all, mate.
me, and I'm like, I've just got to say something.
No worries, James, at all, mate. Anytime. I'll let you go. You take it easy, mate.
Mum thinks I'm a fucking nutcase. Keep calling in. She's going, what's wrong with you?
He's not a nutcase. He's just a West Ham fan. He's a fucking sufferer.
Laughing at me. Anyway, listen, look, I'll let you go. James, keep doing it, mate. Keep doing it. Your shows are brilliant. See you later.
Yeah, take it easy, mate. Peace. That's been James. All the way from Cyprus, I think he is. I think he's in Cyprus way. Someone said on a comment the other day. I'm going to get to a few comments. There's one here from Robert Singleton that he posted. It says, James, would you, if we paid 50 mil for Fernandes, are you going to say later we paid too much? Listen, 50 mil is too much, but I don't think 40 mil is too much. I really don't. Like, 40 mil, I think, is fair for the player. If you can pay 40 mil for Max Gilman, right, and you can pay 30 million for James Ward-Prowse, you can pay 40 million for a 21-year-old Fernandez. Just come back at me like that. That's what I'm going to say. So, yeah. What's this? You do realise Sullivan spend his own money when you're having a laugh, ain't you? That's why he had to pay the loan for Barclay card off. 40 million of his own money to get a few grand back, make it make sense. Well, about time he spent some more of his fucking money, innit? Let's be real. And that let's flick up to the comments, see what we're all saying. Darren says, I reckon 35 mil with 5 million in add-ons should do it. My own concern is if the player wants to come, as he's asked his agent to find him a club that's abroad. Listen, like, how can I put this? If he wants to come, yeah, you've got to make him feel like you want him, right? It's sort of like a loving thing. Right? You've got to make the player feel like he's wanted and you really desperately need him. 28 and 2 or whatever these add-ons are, what's come out. I just think that's bad, right? I think it's bad for 2 reasons. Number one, we've got 3 weeks to the window ends, and we've just found out today that Southampton want 50 to 60 million, right? Or it's 50 million, right? As good as. So, where's the planning in that? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. It's mental. What we got here? Rob, I hope you're well, mate. James, are you scared, worried we've left our marquee midfield signing until 4 days before the season starts? Should have been sorted out months ago, in my opinion. I completely agree with you on that, mate. Completely agree. Explain to me, someone, or come on and explain it to me why we've left it so long. Yeah? And we're going with a midfield of Prowse, Paqueta and Potts on Saturday. I just don't understand that one. Do you know what I'm saying? Why so long? You waited ages. Someone said last night that James Ward-Prowse is the vice captain of West Ham, which is mad. James, 40 million plus. Nah, I twist 2 Macca's in midfield all day long. Yeah, but do you know what? Listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion on what they believe, yeah? But let's just say this, it doesn't happen and we go for someone else. You're going to have the same situation again. Trust me on this, right? Just say, for instance, we go for an El Canouse at Leicester. Now, Leicester have been burnt once, yeah? They ain't going to get burnt again. So if they want 25 mil or 22.5 mil or whatever it is, West Ham should just go in there and get the player. I've noticed it ever since really I've done YouTube, right? Because obviously when you're doing YouTube, you're monitoring what's going on in the West Ham world, right? But it feels like to me, every time that Sullivan's trying to get a deal over the line, he has to lowball it first because he's got no idea. Do you know what I'm saying? And then he has to keep going up and up. Don't be surprised if the next bid's 35, yeah, for Fernandez, and then they're going to get to the target. Like I say it as recent as like John Duran last summer. We was 5 million away from John Duran, I think it was. Wouldn't pay it. He wouldn't go and get it. In one way, it's a blessing, but in another way, he could have changed this. So, you know, I've heard this today and all. Shout out to William anyway. That's negotiations. Every club does it. I don't care about every other club. Like, I'm not being funny. I couldn't give a shit about any other club. I care about West Ham United, and I care about what the situation is. And the thing is, we are going to run out of time, right? Because as time goes on, these players are going to start getting snapped up. So, do we have time to fuck about in the market, going in and chucking a bid in for a player and waiting for it to get rejected? That's the logic that I'm seeing. We're waiting for the bid to get rejected. So, you know, that's just madness, but it is what it is. El Canoes won't come to West Ham till after the release clause expires. If we move to him, no way Suns pays 30 mil up front. I completely agree on that comment. I don't understand. I agree on this comment and all. I don't understand the desire for El Canoes, not the player profile we need. See, I'm a bit on that fence. Also, with Rob on that, I look at him and I think he's a bit too lightweight for me. That really is. So, is he the guy? I don't think so. Let's get to this comment. It's frightening that the area we've all said was most in need of strengthening is the one we addressed last. It doesn't fill me with faith in the manager. I don't think it is the manager, mate. I really don't. Like, I just think we've gone round it in a way that we've left it till last. But even this summer's been such a weird summer. This transfer window's been mad, right? Going through it all. And don't be surprised. This is coming from me. Don't be surprised if something else pops up at the woodwork. Do you know what I'm saying? For me, if Potter wants Fernandez, you've got to deliver Fernandez, right? Now, I'm not asking West Ham to go and pay 50 mil. I'm not. 50 mil's too much. I think 40 mil is probably about where I'm at. Yeah, because I know that if he comes to West Ham, his value is going to start off about 30, 35, and then it'll just go up. If he's here 2 years and we sell him, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The manager should have said the midfield first if this was his first target. His first target was Diouf, wasn't it? He's gone Diouf. And then, but what it is, people keep saying about the manager's targets. What about fucking Sullivan's potential targets in Callum Wilson? I don't want to knock Carl Walker-Peters, but, you know, it is what it is. And then Josh Brownhill. Football fans love to tell the owner how to spend the owner's money. You get that right, mate. It's our money. Do you know what I mean? So it's all the ticket money and all that, and all the money that West Ham generate. You know what I mean? Sullivan doesn't put no money in. It hasn't done for ages. Right, what else we got? 40 mil plus 2 mil add-ons will seal it. Oh, mate. I'll go 40 mil. So if we pay 42, it is what it is. They're saying 57 mil. Well, that's a bit strong. There's no way 57 mil for that. What else we got? Let's have a look. Let's see what Jackie's got to say. After the amount of times Potter has chosen a midfielder over James Ward-Prowse, Guido and Souček, playing without a striker, having Fogg and Ferguson available, it doesn't work with the same logic. You know what we're going to find out on Saturday, mate? We're going to find out if we are a team on the up, or have we just been blagged for the last sort of 6 months? That's when we're going to find out. It was 57 million euros, 49 million pounds. I don't know what they're talking about there, but you know, but that's how I feel on that. Let's get to other ones. Need way more urgency. We're about to field this midfield in the Premier League. That's unacceptable. So what? I keep seeing people saying, if we sign Fernandez, that's basically taking Freddie Potts out. That's where I will sort of go, you know what? Potter deserves every bit of criticism going. Right, absolutely. Right. If he takes Freddie Potts out, I just feel that Freddie needs to basically have good players around him. I think if he has shit around him, he's going to make him look shit. And that's what it is on that, if I'm being honest. Shout out to Danny. Can't spend too long on Fernandez. If the deal is not able, midfield must be improved. So give me some suggestions on midfield. Obviously, people keep saying about El Canoes. I'm not. I think Hayden Hackney. I've said Hayden Hackney for ages. He was on the verge to go to Ipswich. I think it's about £20 million. I think that's a good signing. I think that's a good young signing. That's a good fee. See, that's the sort of signing that I would expect West Ham to go in and get the player out of Borough. Right, no problems. But I just have no faith in them doing so. None at all. Do you know what I mean? Hayden Hackney's a good player. And I wouldn't mind him. The El Canoes one, I'm a bit on the fence with that one. Some people really rave him, really rate the kid. Say, yeah, bring him in. He looks good. Other people are like myself, are like, I'm not too sure on this one. Do you know what I'm saying? But, you know. We need to move on. Southampton ain't selling unless they get 50 mil, which we ain't paying. Stick a bit of 40 in there, mate. Trust me. They will have a think about it because they've inflated the price, yeah. But if they get a bit of 40 million, it's a lot of dough. They've had a geezer a year. They'll let him go. What's this? Right, for 18 months, midfield has been out. It's been the weak point. How has it not been fixed? And we're so close to starting another season. Well, there you go, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Lack of funds, FC. Let's get to Charlie Walsh. 40 million is too much for Fernandez, not going to lie. Disagree with you, Charlie. I think that's about fair. When you want to buy a young up-and-coming talent, right, you got to pay the money. Do you know what I mean? And the price of players is going up. And the inflation on players is going up. Like, I don't get the logic when people say to me, 40 million is too much, but then 30 million we paid for fucking James Ward-Prowse. And 40 million we paid for Kilman. That, to me, just baffles me beyond belief. Like, with Fernandez, my honest opinion, he's here for 2 years. His value goes up to 50, maybe 60 million. And that's the thing. We need to buy players in and sell them on for profit. Do you know what I'm saying? Because this is the Brighton model that he's trying to do. Buy young, sell high, and go down that route. So, yeah. Steve Sidwell said he's worth about 35 mil. It's probably about right. It's probably about right, mate, if I'm being honest. Is he better than McAtee? I don't know. We played all season, didn't he? McAtee's been out on loan and all that. The issue is Forest have got the player out of there. Why didn't West Ham go and get McAtee? There must have been a reason why we couldn't go and get him. Maybe he wanted to go and play in Europe with Forest. Who knows? 100 million was too much for Rice. When you take a lower club's best players, you're paying it over the odds. Very true. Very true. Probably have to pay a premium to get him over the line. I reckon 40, 45. I think 40 would do it. If you do 35 and 5, I think it gets done. Anything over that, I just don't think. I think West Ham will pull out of it and go somewhere else, right? Or West Ham will leave the bid there, right, and say, this is the bid. We're going to leave it there. We're going to look at other targets. If you change your mind, let us know. So, yeah, there you go. The Brighton model isn't buying £40 million for players. You can pay less money and make more profit. Fernandez is too rich for my blood. I disagree, Charlie. You can go and pay out for decent players in the Premier League and in the Championship. And as you know, that there isn't players that Potter and McCauley want, but Sullivan ain't going to do that because he doesn't want to take risks and pay out £15 million for a geezer who's out in France that no one's heard of. Like Gay, and I know this firsthand, yeah, because a friend of mine told me this, is that West Ham was looking for a loan for the geezer and Mets wanted to pay the money for the geezer. So, think about it. They're a relegated side who need to sell. They're taking the piss. 30 million is generous. Disagree. They don't have to sell. They're in a pretty good financial situation and they know his value. If they get promoted, it goes back to being about 40, 50 mil next year. So they're in a no-lose situation. He's on a 4-year deal. So I disagree on that. What else we got? Kilman is crap. I don't see the guy being very good. And you don't forget though, Sam, we paid 40 mil for that geezer, mate. You can't say that. We paid £40 million out for Max Kilman. And I'll tell you what, to prove something to everyone, we paid £100 million out on a defence that isn't all that. So there you go. If you want to know what about inflated prices, there's your answer. £100 million on Tadibo, Kilman, and Naya for Gued. So there you go. You can have that. Here we go. Let's see what Matt's got to say. It'd be considered near misses before the window closes and Brownhill signs are free. That is a possibility. That is a possibility, mate. I'm telling you that now. And that's the one thing I worry about, is that Josh Brownhill is still in the shadows waiting to be signed. Yeah, by a club. I think the club's ours. And I honestly believe this is what I think is going to happen. I think West Ham are going to try and sign a name of some note. Because one thing he's got to do, Sullivan, he's got to deliver. He's got to deliver on a name. He does it every single time. He always has to sign a name. Once the name is signed, whoever it is, whether it's El Canoes, whether it's Fernandez, whoever, yeah, he'll drop Josh Brownhill in there. I think someone said to me on the space the other day, and I make him right. They actually believe the Brownhill deal's done. He's just waiting to announce it. Let's hope he goes somewhere else, because apparently he's bought an house in Essex and all, which it isn't looking good, lads. It isn't looking good. Kilman is a different situation entirely. Let's be honest, just because we overpaid on one player doesn't mean we should overpay for another. Disagree, Charlie. You got one player who's 27, 28 years old and coming to the end of his career, as good as. You've got a 21-year-old whose career is only going to get better. His ceiling's more higher and his value's only going to go up. Kilman's value's only going to go down. I completely disagree with him, mate. I love debating Charlie. He never comes back on his channel, though, for some reason. Fuck knows why. Maybe it's me. Yeah, we can say that now, but when we got to Debo, we was all buzzing. Yeah, but I'm just saying, 100 million though, mate. A lot of dough. It's a lot of dough. The centre back isn't coming to the end of his career, 27, James. Yeah, but it's a lot of dough for a player who isn't really all that, mate, if I'm being honest. I don't care if Reynolds comes in on a free. He's not, but not as a starter, Fernandes or Elliott. It's going to be one of them. They're going to drop a name somewhere. Trust me, I'm telling you, right? Because he's going to have to. Like, Mateus and Diouf ain't going to fucking sell massive amounts of shirts. Right, in Senegal, maybe. Right, for Diouf, yeah. Shout out to the Senegalese fans out there, mate. So yeah, I don't see how he doesn't drop a name. It really doesn't. So Liverpool will go back in for Isak after he's moved out, which means the chances of Elliott becoming more possible, unless they give him in the deal, mate. That's another thing that I'll keep reading and all. Which ain't good. Liverpool will get rid of Elliott as he's a bit of a troublemaker within the squad. Bloody hell, that's no good. We leave everything late in the transfer window. Someone mentions it was because Sully won't pay the wages over the summer break. That won't surprise me. What do you reckon, Ian? Do you reckon that's true? Because nothing surprises me. Nothing will ever surprise me with the ownership of this club. So, Southampton taking the piss, move on. I disagree, mate. When he turns up and he's player of the season, I will be there for you guys. Trust me, I will be there. What we got here? See, I think that's fair, right? We should pay 35 mil for Fernandez. If West Ham can get out of Southampton for 35 mil, I think fair enough. But I don't think that's going to be enough. I think they're going to try and push it, and maybe it might have to go to 40. Yeah. It all depends on West Ham's next bid. If they do bid, if they come in with a bid and West Ham go say 35, say if West Ham go 30 and 5, I think that's fair, right? It's a fair enough offer, right? And it's up to them then, because obviously I think Southampton have obviously overvalued their player massively. But you will know then. Let's see what AD lad's got to say. I like Fernandez. I'll be very happy with him in the team for 25 30 mil. For 25 mil, 30 mil is a lot, but we can understand it. But for 40 mil, you can go and buy 2 other exciting up and comers and solve multiple problems. Well, why haven't they, Charlie? That's the question that I put to you, mate. Why haven't they? Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think they've got the money to go out and do all that. And I think Potter wants this player. Just go and get the player. I don't think it's that fucking hard. Do you know what I'm saying? Just go and get him and put a bid in that make them think. Just my opinion. Don't beat me up. Thoughts on the Guedstein. Personally, I'm happy. I think he suits the system Potter wants to play. I think it's a mixture of both, mate, if I'm being honest. I think West Ham really didn't get any good offers in for him. I know Marseille was interested in him, but, you know, it is what it is on that. And I think West Ham just gone, you know what, let's try and keep this geezer and save the money in the camp. If West Ham can't go out and get Fernandez and another quality midfielder, then there's something wrong. There's something drastically wrong. And the questions will be asked of why won't you pay the money to go out and get 2 quality midfielders? Now, listen, I'm not asking Sullivan to go and fucking pay 50 mil for this geezer. I'm not, right? But pay something that is worth paying. 28 and 2 tells me absolutely fuck all. It just tells me, oh, you know what? We're just going to put a bid in there and see what happens. It was never going to happen in the first place. See, that's a good comment. He's saving money for January. He ain't going to back Potter. Well, why not? Why won't he back him? See, this is a good comment. Yeah, I remember doing a video on it. Yeah, the deal was near enough done. It just went completely flat. And someone said on a space the other day, right, that come the end of the window, you will find out the reason why we didn't go for Raphael Onyedika. I thought, I wonder what that's about. Right, I'm not too sure who said it, but something's happened, and West Ham just gone completely cut all ties with that one. Yeah, so I can't remember who said it on the space. If they're in here now, tell me. But obviously, it happened the other day. I can't remember who told me, but it's something about it's going to come at the end of the window, and I didn't know fucking nothing about it. It was X, or if it was X, then fair enough, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, but obviously, someone's told me. I haven't heard from X. I asked it. I messaged him today, and he's probably sunbathing in Croatia or wherever he is currently right now. Southampton are well within their rights to play their own transfer game. Completely agree. We just have to decide what we're prepared to stomach. We really can't moan at how they negotiate. I completely agree on that comment. Another good comment tonight. Fuck me. Shout out to that man. Completely agree. We can't dictate to Southampton when they ain't even their fucking player. So, you know. Apparently, we have allegations going around him, so we gave up on him, quite similar to Partey. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Need I say any more on that? Thing is, Fernandez and other clubs are interested with Mads. There was only club interested. That's why we got the deal done cheap. Completely agree. You've also got to think that Southampton are waiting for other clubs to come in. Yeah. Bit like how we was in regards of Mohamed Kudus, right? That is what we was trying to do. We were trying to wait for a bidding war to happen. Now, if no clubs come in for this geezer, and West Ham's the only club, hopefully he thinks about it and thinks, you know what, I can get back into the Premier League. That's where I want to be. West Ham's a new project, and go from there. I just hope it happens myself. I think he's a good player. I think it's a player that we need. We need to sort this midfield out urgently. And the longer this goes on, right, the more I'm going to get concerned. As the back end of the window starts to approach, if West Ham do end up with a fucking brand at this club, then I'm just going to erupt. Or I really am, when you've had the whole summer to sort this situation out. But there's got to be a reason. There has to be a reason why we're leaving it so late. To me, I think we're leaving it so late because we're trying to find players on the cheap. That's what I believe it is. Because if you really wanted Fernandes, you'd have got him in. You'd have got him in on the 1st of August, right? Or the fucking 1st of July. It's now the 12th of August, and you know, like we're no further forward on that midfield area, none. And that to me just doesn't make a lot of sense. To me, it really doesn't. And we're going with Ward-Prowse, Guido. It's massive. You know, the first 5 games we'll do well, and Sullivan says, no need for a midfielder. Yeah, that's coming, mate. We should walk away from the deal. 30 million is too much already. Well, Alf, you ain't gonna like what Alf, you won't like my opinion, son. You won't like my opinion. I will say that. Just sign someone soon. I don't want to watch JWP anymore. Yeah, that's true. In the space, someone said X had said that there's a reason behind the Onyedika stuff that can't be spoke about until after the window. Well, fair enough, mate. Yeah. So that, obviously he's out the question, and that ain't looking good for him. Right, let's get rid of that. Just bish bash bosh. What we got here? What's this here? See what he's saying here. I'm hearing that Fernandez a deal as an agent that is not keen on dealing with us. I wonder why, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel. I wonder why they're not keen on dealing with us. Probably another fucking agent. Sullivan's pissed off. You know what I'm saying? They are leaving it late to get them in on a bit on the cheap. And in the hope of some of the dross goes out the door, we might pick up a loan late in the day too. I think it's 1-on-1. I've always stuck by this. I think there's 2 more signings coming. One of Potter's, one of Sullivan's, and that's what it's going to be. Yeah. I'm hoping it's like Douglas Luiz or someone like that comes in, but apparently he could be going to Nottingham Forest. Now, does he go to Nottingham Forest with McAtee just going there, or do they leave it? I don't know. But I think it's 1-on-1. And I think one of them's like a purchase and one of them's a loan or a free transfer. So, yeah, it is what it is on that. What's your opinion? Sorry, I've just tuned in. What's the highest you think we should go for? I think West Ham should buy about 35 to 40, mate. I think 40 gets him out of there. I think 35 makes them think about it. That's what I think. I think what it is, you have to buy the player, develop the player over 18 months, 2 years, and then sell him on. Like, that's one thing we don't do. We don't buy. We never buy well. We always overprice on players who are coming to the back end of their career. Like Danny Ings, we paid what, £18 million out for. Maxwell Cornet, I think the same as well. And they're just dead. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like when you look at Alvarez, 30 million. I think we paid for Alvarez, and you're paying 40 million for this kid who is a up and coming prospect. I just don't see where the problem is. I really don't. So 40 million I think is fair. I really do. Why not go for El Canoes, a lower 20 million release clause? There's got to be a reason behind it, mate. Has to be. Like, because yet again, why are we leaving it so late? The only thing I think of when they're leaving it late is someone like a Harvey Elliott. That if Liverpool can't shift him, West Ham might go in there with a loan with an option to buy. Now, is that I'm going to use this slogan now? Is that acceptable? Right? That if we leave it late, could we get Harvey Elliott out of there if no one else comes in for him? Do you know what I'm saying? Because he's still there, and that could be the move. Like, that could be the move. And maybe West Ham are waiting for that midfield area to sort himself out. But I think this Fernandez one. And another thing I'm going to say is that where it's Potter's #1 target, or it's Potter's target that he wants, I do feel we should be trying to get this geezer's like players in. Do you know what I'm saying? No, Sullivan, we end up with fucking Mason Mount or someone like that on the go. Let's have a look. Someone's going to try and get him for below his release clause. You just know it, don't you, mate? I swear to God. Imagine that. What is his release clause? 22.5, is it? Imagine if someone goes in there and fucking and we bid 11 for him. That is just taking the piss, isn't it? As I said, Sullivan ain't paying 30 million up front. Yeah, I completely agree, mate. I completely agree. Well, I'm going to get to the final few comments and then I'm going to wrap this up. I've been going for an hour. I'll tell you what, it just flies by. Every single time I do these little streams, right, where I just have people on, well, an hour just goes by no problem. We definitely told Leicester we'll go back in for El Canoes if we don't get main targets. We need a box-to-box animal. Fernandez is not the guy. Not the answer. Sorry. I don't know, mate. Don't know. I think he's all right. What do you think of the Lille midfield link? Apparently, we've been monitoring for a while. Now, listen, we're going to get to that. There was a Lille player that was linked on Monday. I said it, and I say it to you all the time, right? And believe me, don't believe me, it's up to you. But every Monday morning is a fresh, new link to a player. I messaged X and asked him straight out. I said, "Come on, X, let's be honest here, right? We play Lille on the Saturday, and then on the Monday we're linked to their defensive midfielder." I said, "What's all that about?" And he basically turned around and said to me that he's on the backup. He's on the backup list. Like, they've got a list of main targets, and if they can't get him, then they're going to try and go after this geezer. And the fact it's something like £20 million or something. So I'll take it like a pinch of salt on that. Like, I'll be honest, I'll take it like a pinch of salt, like the Ramsey and all, like the Ramsey situation, Jacob Ramsey. I looked at it and I went, I just don't believe it, right? And they chuck a name out there to try and get the fan base up for it, but it's just never going to happen. Right, that's the thing. It never feels like it's going to happen. Like with the Malik Diouf signing, I could see that was going to happen. Right, you could see it sort of progressing. On some of these deals, you just know it's never going to happen ever. It's time to back Sullivan now. He's moving us forward, and it's clear to see with this 30 million bid. And then George comes in and says, "Only joking." Do you know what I'm saying? Tone, if you want on, mate, jump on, because I'm going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes. If you want to come and have your say quick, you're more than welcome to, mate. Steve Taylor, hope you're well, mate, wherever you are. JW will start every single game. He's Potter's best mate at the club. He loves him unconditionally. Oh, dear. Do you know what will be interesting? And it will be, is when we do sign a midfielder, because I do believe we're going to sign a midfielder this window. Whenever they're all fit, who's coming out? Now, if Freddie Potts does come out, then that's wrong, right? That's wrong on a lot of levels, yeah. And Ward-Prowse definitely has to come out. Like Croatian. I see a comment there, James Ward-Potter. Yeah, mate. I can see it happening. But I don't know. We're finding it hard to get rid of players at the minute, and that's what it'd be. Carlos Sanchez, here we go. Well, here we go, Carlos Sanchez, and let's see what Tone's got to say. Right, shout out to Tone. 3, 2, 1, bosh. Tone, how you doing, mate?
Oh, good, mate. Yourself?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I've had a bit of fun on Twitter today. Well, I'll tell you what, this younger fan base do. You say something and they all go mad, like FIFA or something. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. What do you make of this Fernandez situation, mate?
Have we gone in low with a low bid, or is it just a case of they've blanked us all up? So I've been out all day, unfortunately.
Everyone said on there is 28 and 2. We put a bid of 28 million plus 2 million add-ons. I heard earlier it was saying like 24 and 6. And then someone said it was 30 mil. So I don't know what it is, but all I know is it's 30 million, all including add-ons. So there you go. What you saying?
I mean, if we seriously want him, just go bigger. That's all you got to do. 30, 32, whatever it is. If we're that desperate to get a player, well, we'll say desperate, but you want to get a player in, I mean, I ain't going to do an Arsenal tactic and go £1, but at least go 32. Enough. That should be enough to guarantee the player then.
What it is, Southampton want between 50 and 60. That's what they've come out with.
Okay.
Right. And obviously we ain't going to pay that. But we all know that they've inflated the price. Yeah, for a reason. So for me, I think you go in with a bid of 35. Yeah, you can go 30 and 5, and then you can go 35 and 5. I think 40 gets him out of there. Myself, Tone. I really do. Right. I think 35, they look at it and they wait and see if anyone comes in. Right. And what it is, Atletico Madrid are sort of rumoured to be looking at him also. Right. And if they come in with a bid of, say, 35, they like, what it is, you've also got to have the player being upset and all. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the player needs to force the move and all. That's the only way you're going to ever get him out there on the sheet, if I'm being honest. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I mean, going by that, if that's the case, what you're saying, yeah, 35 plus 5, it wets the water, doesn't it? At the end of the day, should whet their appetite, should be enough to get it over the line.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, Southampton want to play hardball. I mean, they want to keep hold of the player. What I saw a day or so beforehand. But if we start off with that, surely, as you said, it should be enough.
It should be, but it's always the fucking low ball with us, isn't it? Every single time, like it's all. And the thing is, I don't know about you, Tone, right? But I can't understand why they've left it so late to find out what the price that Southampton want. Like, if they're sitting around the table in the summer and going, right, these are the players that I want, right? These are like, I want this man, this man, this man. Surely you'd be making inquiries to find out what the valuation of them players is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you should have, a week, 2 weeks ago, get it out of the way with. I mean, like, not just this player, but obviously several players.
Yeah.
If we surely Potter must have drawn up a list. He can't say he hasn't. He must have gone to Sullivan and said, "This is what I'm thinking of getting. Where do we go with it?"
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. What do you think's going to happen now?
Knowing him, he'll add a couple of 1,000 on top of that offer he's already given, and he'll be one of those. Knowing Sullivan, he'd probably be a take it or leave it.
I reckon so. Yeah, I reckon that's what he's going to. I reckon he's going to go in there with 35 himself. I don't think he'll go to 40 because what people have been saying tonight. I understand what they're saying. Right, you take him. Right, you take the bid away. You go after a couple of other players. The issue is why are West Ham not doing what they usually do and have multiple bids everywhere? Like if you want El Canoes, for instance, why are you not bidding for him? Like, why are you delaying it? Do you know what I mean? I think they're lining up something. I don't know. Like the Harvey Elliott thing has been mentioned all summer, and I think West Ham know they can't get him out of there on a transfer fee. Like they can't pay the fee to get him automatically moved.
Yeah.
But if it comes to the end of the window and he's still there, that West Ham could drop in a loan with an obligation to buy next year. And I could see that happening, right? If they can't shift him, because obviously they're going to have to get him off the books because they're going to bring like obviously Isak in and all that. I know they're going to want money, Liverpool, but they are going to get money, ain't they? Because they're going to get the money next year for the players. So, what do you make of that, mate?
I mean, that's an interesting shout because you think about it. The one thing they've banded about before, near enough before the transfer window open is we ain't got a pot to piss in. We've got nothing. So what they've got to do now, because they've gone with that, they've got to stick with it. So if they suddenly turn and say we've got money and we can just up the money for this player, then they've been taking the mickey all the way along. So for me, if they're going to do it, like with this Fernandez, as you said, leave it go to 35, probably that'd be the maximum. As for the Elliott one, I don't know. It's an interesting one because he's a good player, but are we ambitious enough to get a player like that?
Not really, no, not really. But I suppose when you've got nowhere else to go, and you need to get him off the books or get him out of the club for any reason. Like we've been linked with another player out in Liverpool, Ben Donk, I think his name is, or Donk, I can't pronounce his fucking name. But we've been linked with him. So I just have to wait and see on that. Before I let you go, because I'm going to wrap this up in a minute, what's the best solution for this midfield? Because obviously people are saying about James Ward-Prowse, and they're saying that if a midfielder comes in, does James Ward-Prowse come out? I think if James Ward-Prowse is in this midfield and we sign a new player, add Paqueta to it, and then Potts is out, then I think people are going to be fuming with that big time.
Yeah, I think if he goes with that, then it's going to, for one, it's going to be a long, hard season.
Yeah,
without a shout. We all want Potts to start. I think he is the next generation to come in. Basically, we do need to up this midfield. I mean, the fact that they've given Greedo number 4, that kind of tells you he's still staying here for the time being. So we need to get a shot of him in. I mean, look, is Sullivan hoping that Paqueta is going to be moved on? I don't know. Is he still waiting for that bit to go along? Hopefully not, because I think we've got to give Paqueta a chance here to see what he can do. Will Alvarez be given a chance? With him, Alvarez and Potts. then you've got a bit of you've got a mixture of experience, bit of stamina, and also you've got the youth in there as well. That should be enough to kind of keep us a little bit solid. JWP and that, I think we can all agree, his time's done. Thank you very much for coming in, but you went to Forest for a reason. They found out you weren't good enough. You come back to us, and now we're kind of holding on to him yet again. It's time to move on.
115 grand we paid for that geezer. Fucking a week. That is unbelievable. And that, if anything, people say about the transfer fees are ridiculous. The fucking wages West Ham pay are ridiculous sometimes. They really are. Like 125 grand for Ings, 115 for fucking JWP. I think it's 100 plus grand for Areola. We are the club for the fucking for the wages, isn't it? Every single time, mate.
Do we not learn, mate?
No. Would you give us your prediction for Saturday?
I'm going to go with, obviously opening game. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to West Ham. It's not going to be an easy one, especially being up the stadium and light. Them fans, that place is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
It ain't called a stadium light for nothing, and they will literally have that place in flames because they're back in the Premier League. Spent big money. Managers extended his contract, so the ambition's there. And I think you said it on Sunday. They're one of the teams that's probably still going to stay up come next season. So I don't think it'll be an easy game. We don't want to take things for granted, but I think we just edge it just.
I'm going to say this, I've actually got probably one of the best bets that I can ever have, if I'm being honest. I managed to get 3-1 on Sunderland to finish above Burnley and Leeds, which I think is absolute gold. Like, I got it 2 months ago. I see the money that they got, I see the manager that they got, and Sunderland are quite a big club, especially out in the northeast, and they're going to cause havoc, and they've sorted the midfield out. They've got Xhaka in there, who's an animal. They've signed that geezer from Senegal. Also, I think it's Diarra, I think he is. So it is what it is. But we're going to see on Saturday. Do you know what I'm saying?
You forgot one more person. An ex-Hammer is also with them as well now.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Mezawaku, mate. Imagine if he fucking scores on Saturday. That's how cursed can we be? You know what I'm saying? So Tony, I'm going to let you go, mate. Take it easy.
James, thanks so much. Good night as well, mate.
Take care, mate. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you my final thought. And it goes like this. West Ham, if you're going to go down this youth policy, you've got to start buying young, up-and-coming, fresh players who are going to have a sell-on value. Do I think 50 million is too much for him? Yes. Do I think 40 million pounds too much for him? No. I think 40 million is a fee that you have to pay for quality. Do you know what I mean? If you look at some of the players that Sporting Lisbon have let go over the years, Fernandes went for about 40 million, I think. Oh, so you just got to go out and you just got to pay the money and develop the player, and hopefully the player goes on to be the player that we all believe he can be. Do I think West Ham get this one done? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they're going to come out with a bid of about 35. I think Southampton, will decline it, and then West Ham will look elsewhere. The issue is where do they go next? Is it El Canoes or not? I don't know. On this one. I'm a bit skeptical of this one. But the problem is where the window is slowly drawing to the end, we've got to get some fucking players in midfield. Like, this is an urgent situation, and we need to get some players out of the midfield and all. That's another thing, like, because we've got too much crap in the side, and we need to bring in better. So it is on that. I want to thank everyone who come on tonight. Damien, James, Tone. There's someone else in there who come on. I can't remember who it was, but I do apologise. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? But there was someone else in there. I'm sure of it. Anyway, that's enough from me. Take care of yourselves out there. Be safe. Be well. West Ham, sign Fernandez. He's a gem. Peace.